if you had a brand new comic walk through that door right behind you, I know you'd probably be like, what the hell is going on? But if he's just starting your career, what would you tell him?
Well, I mean, there's so many things. Number one, start where you are. If you're in Toledo, Ohio, start there. Number two, work as often as you can. Get up on every stage, every chance you get, everywhere. Volunteer to do charity work. Say, I'll MC your charity and do a couple jokes in there. Whatever. Work as often as you can. Number three, I'd say maybe read the book, The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect others to believe in you? Read every positive mental attitude book you can get about the stage. Number four, realize no one is ever going to help you. You always think, I'm going to get there. One day someone's going to see me and discover me. They won't till you're ready. They won't till you're ready. You got to be, if you're not marketable, they can't make any money off of you. So when you get, work it often again, realize, don't start thinking someone's going to come along and discover you. You've got to do it, And number five, don't ever quit. If you really believe this. Bertrand Russell once said, there are people in show business who become major stars simply because they didn't have sense enough to quit when they should have. That's my story. That's everybody's story. I slept in a car. My wife left me 3 times. She hated show business. I couldn't see my kids. I got them all back. I mean, I won in the end, but I wouldn't give up. Don't ever quit if this is your dream. If you really want to be a stand-up comedian. Now, there's a difference. Watch your ego. There's a difference between, doing it because you want to show every one of those son of a bitches back home who said you'd never make it, and you want to own that, have several Rolls Royces, and you'll show them, and you're going to have a multi-million-dollar. That's your ego. Right. Your spirit says, I love making people laugh. I love to hear the sound of laughter. I'm going to digress. The first time I ever went on stage with Tim Reid, I'd never been on stage before in my life. I wrote something that was funny. When I went on stage that night, I got a laugh. My very first time on stage. It was like one of those B movies where the dark clouds open up and the sun bursts through, and my whole being went, yeah. Oh, yeah. I found it. This is what I want to do. I've been wandering aimlessly, but now I knew I wanted to be a comedian. The thought that you might make a living as a comedian overwhelmed me, that you can make a living making people laugh. I couldn't sleep all that night. It was a Friday night. I got up the next morning, a Saturday morning, and I went to the church that I had been an altar boy in. And I sang in a choir when I was a little boy, when my mom sang in a choir when she was a little girl. But it was a Saturday. There was no service there. I was the only one in the church. And I got on my hands and knees and I prayed. I said, God, now I know what I want. I want to be a stand-up comedian. Please, God, let me make my living as a stand-up comedian. I'll do charities. I started making all these promises, what I do. But I knew from that moment I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. That was 50 years ago in September 1969. In September 2019, 50 years later, I went back to that church, and on a Sunday, I gave a sermon on the power of prayer. Wow. And I talked on the power of prayer, and I told that congregation, I knelt right there. That's where I knelt. I said, how many of you out there ever said you're thinking of somebody and you hadn't seen them in a long time, and the phone rings and it's that person? And you said, I was just thinking about you. And they said, I was thinking about you too. Or you're walking down the street and you said, I can't believe it. I'm just talking about you. And I said, how many does that happen? They all raised their hands. I said, if human beings can transfer thought, and obviously we can, then how much can a supreme being transfer thought? Can you transfer thought to a supreme being? I believe in God. I believe in a higher power. And I've really agonized over it times in my life. But in the end, I just, I used to talk to Alan Shepard, the first man in space. And I said to him one time, Alan, he was drinking a lot of martinis, we're drinking, he's long since retired. I said, Admiral, you were out on the moon and you looked out into outer space. There are 400 billion galaxies out there. Is there a God? He said, after a moment, he thought about it. He said, there's something really powerful out there. And that's what I think. So I say the supreme being. So I'm saying all that to say, that if you're a comedian, you want to be a comedian, you have the passion that I had, you have that same passion, then that's what you want to be. Then don't let anybody get in the way of that. And by the way, you may not ever fill an arena of 20,000 people. You may most sell 50 people in your life, 50 to 100. But if you're making a living as a stand-up comedian, that's what you want to do, then don't let anything get in the way of that. Don't ever quit.